How
energy
do you
drink.
like that?
Okay, I like the taste of it, and it says it's got steady energy and supports focus. My daughter and I agree that we don't feel like it's giving us any energy. I can't say that it's not, but I don't feel that I don't know. And I don't know if it's really helping my focus. I think it probably is, and it's good for you. We're going to try Bloom, and we're waiting for our order to come because she did a Bloom and she's like, Mom, I feel energized with this one. So we're going to try that because we can't do Alani because Alani was making both my girls break out. Apparently, there's something in it and it says that it can do that. So they
Oh,
both kicked that one to the curb. I liked that one. So we're going to try Bloom next.
okay.
So I like the taste of this, but I don't know that it's and probably because it's got a lot of it's the most holistic one. Like it doesn't have like the taurine. I don't even see any taurine in it. I'm looking at it really fast. And I
What's
think that
taurine?
so if you look up taurine, it's Taurine.
Mm.
Okay, so that was the oddest thing ever. YouTube just decided to kick me off and then resume me. So we lost Cece. I hope that she pops back in. If she doesn't, I might just end this and then restart it. But okay, here she is. That was the oddest thing ever. So crazy. I've never had that happen before where YouTube just decided to boot me off and now we're back. That was the weirdest thing ever. YouTube booted me and then said, "Do you want to resume?" Anyway,
I got booted as well.
never had that happen. It was just gone. Like, anyways,
Mm. Okay, well,
back to
good
our
thing.
energy drink discussion. Just kidding. So,
Well, I'm chewing Nutrigum.
okay.
Yes. So,
Is that the focus gum?
it is.
Heard
I
about it.
got yeah, so I guess it comes in a pack. There's multiple in one pack. And so a friend gave me just like a whole section of one. I'm like, "Okay, I'll
It's
try it.
supposed to
I'll."
help for neuro, like ADHD and all the things and whatever works.
Which
I know, right?
which
I should try it too,
I
just
am
to
like the
see for
queen.
focus
I'm the
and
queen of.
stuff.
If not, I have to like in this binder here, I have my chicken scratch of everything I have to do because I am a checklist fan.
Yeah.
So, oh,
Well, let's
hi
get into
Sally.
it. People are
Yes,
popping in.
we have
So I want
so
to get
much.
going. Yeah. Hi
To,
to Detrixin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And hi to Sally. If you're coming in, please say hello. Tell us where you're from. We would love that. We have a lot to talk about today because there's a lot of drama going on in real estate. And I'm actually excited about this drama for once because I'm one that loves to see competition in the real estate space because it's good for all of us agents and it's good for consumers. But I am a huge not fan of Zillow for many reasons. And I'm trying not to get all excited about this because it might not sound nice, but Zillow has two huge lawsuits that are currently in the courts. Two of them, one from Seattle federal court, and the other one was in New York court right now. We're going to talk about it and how this is going to, I think, help real estate as a whole because Zillow really wants to put themselves out there as the know all of real estate, and they're not. They do things wrong all the time. Their information that they on listings are wrong. And people think that whatever Zillow says is true because they've done a great job marketing. I'll give them that.
oh, they
They're a marketing genius.
millions of dollars of marketing. There's so
Yeah,
many companies that just can throw money at it and they create the trust, right?
they do.
Because what's brand is to create trust. And like
Mhm.
us on here, we're creating trust with our followers. So we are the ones that are knowledgeable. You hear us talking. We don't have their deep pockets. We can't sit there and like throw money out there to get our information out.
To get a billboard,
Zillow,
Hallie and Cece. Yeah, we need a billboard.
yeah, the Halloween CC stuff.
Can you
But
imagine us
here's the
having the
thing,
billboard?
they
That'd be fun.
throw millions of
Oh my gosh,
dollars
so much money.
monthly just to gain this trust.
Yep. And they've done it because they do the commercials, they do all the things, and they're really a great marketing company, not a great real estate company. They only recently even got their MLS credentials. They finally made them do it because they didn't even have those. They were just syndicating all of our listings and all of the stuff from the MLS. They were syndicating it. So here's the first lawsuit. This one I am super excited about because I experienced this and I'll talk about it. So the whole thing, the whole premise of the lawsuit is that is Zillow Flex, it's a flex system, which I'll explain in a second, fixing commissions. Because remember, that big NAR lawsuit last year was all about commissions and no fixing of commissions, and every commissions are negotiable. So what this is basically saying, let me give you a background on Zillow Flex in a nutshell. Zillow Flex just basically means it's offered to bigger teams, real estate teams that have a certain amount of production. You have to have, I don't know if it's 20 or 40 million within your team production for a year. You get invited into the program. Okay. Now, I was in this program for 30 days. I joined a team for only 30 days. It wasn't for me. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which we don't need to go into. So I got to experience this. So I actually know what it's like to be in the Zillow Flex program. But what Zillow does is they take 40% of the commission, regardless of what the commission is. They take 40%. So what people need to know is as a singular agent, you can't really get into the Zillow Flex program unless you're doing 20 or 40 million on your own, right? Like, so you're on a team. When you're on a team, what that means is you are paying part of your commission to the team as well because it's a team lead even though the team didn't pay for the lead for Zillow. There's no money that the team has to pay to get the leads because the money isn't paid until it closes, and 40% of that commission goes to Zillow. So the math is, it's a closing, let's say I'm the agent, 40%, and I'm a buyer's agent, 40% goes to Zillow. Now there's 60% less. On most of these teams, the split is 60% to the team, 40% to the agent. So I should have ran the math in my head. It's almost like I think about getting only, let's say, about 1% of the commission. Okay. Like one third, let's say, of the commission, because the team is getting the higher percentage than the agent who's working their tail off to get it done. So, number
Let's
one,
do
the
that math.
math, don't math. You could do that math. You go ahead and do that math because
I
you got to
want
take the
to.
40% off first. So, you're not getting
Okay.
40% because you're getting 40%
So you're talking
of
about your
60%.
commission.
Yeah, so you're
Say,
basically getting 40% of 60% because the
okay.
60% is what's left. So I know there's an equation for that. And if I really wanted to sit down and sharpen my skills, I would, but I don't want to. So I'm glad you're doing it. She's got her pen out and I see her working
I
on it. So
am.
we're going to let Cece's working on it because she is the lender and math is in her sector. I can do math, but I don't want to. So Cece's, that's her lane. So we're going to let her math.
So
She's
you
going to talk.
take, just to clarify, so your commission divided by 40% goes down, you split 60-40. You get the 40, and then
Yes.
you
And the
actually,
team typically gets the 60. The best opportunity you can have is the team is it being 50-50, but a lot of the teams do 60. So again, out of 100%, Zillow takes 40.
oh,
So you have
you're gonna cry. You're just
60%
gonna cry.
left. If the team takes 60% of that 60% and I get 40% of that 60%, 40% of 60% is something like 24% ish, right? I don't know, I just did that in my head and it's probably wrong. So let me finish while Cece's getting the math. Here's the thing. Why is there a lawsuit, right? This just sounds like a really bad business decision at this point. Here's the problem. Because we already had the lawsuit and they've already said that commissions are flexible, commissions are negotiable. When you look at this situation, when Zillow's getting 40%, what they're saying is they've created a situation where that commission is no longer as flexible because you have to have a certain level commission in order for the agent to make any money to even make it worth their while. And Zillow knows that because if they didn't make, I'm going to use, let's say, 4% because that's not what we usually do, but let's say 4% is the commission. Okay. If Zillow's getting 40% of that, Okay. And then there's 60% left. They have to have a higher commission level in order for it to make sense for this agent. All the costs and your time and your gas and your running and just working, right? Everyone wants to get paid for what they do. So that's the first thing. They are saying that it fixes it so that the commissions can no longer be flexible. The other really big thing, most buyers, when they're on Zillow, they're looking at a listing and they see contact agent, they click that button. When they click that button, what happens is that they're a lead. That lead, they talk to Zillow, Zillow answers and they talk and they ask them some questions, right? And then what Zillow, they say, I'm going to connect you to an agent. Zillow then decides which team is getting that lead. They push it out to that team, and everybody's phone will ring at the same time for if they're open to that city. Let's say it's one city, and if any agent on that team that has, yes, I'll take this price point in this city, all their phones ring. Whoever answers it first gets it. They're instantly on with this person, the buyer, and they're talking to them. Okay. Now, the buyer, the problem is the buyer thinks when they click contact agent that they're reaching the listing agent, because a lot of them want to talk to the listing agent. They don't know that they're getting routed to somebody who might have joined the team yesterday and doesn't know anything about real estate at all. And they're in training. So they're being partnered up with somebody that have no opportunity to choose who they get to work with. Because again, in our industry, once you show a property, if you want to put in an offer, you are bound to that agent because you have to sign something before you go that either says you're represented or not represented. And most agents are going to have you sign something that says, hey, if you want to put in an offer, I'm your agent. That just makes sense. Or why would you do it? So now this buyer is stuck with this agent. Doesn't matter if this agent's good, bad, or the other, if they want this property and they go see it. This is huge because of antitrust laws. And I think Zillow's going to I think they're going to have to make changes to this program because I think they're going to lose this. I do. I think they're going to lose this based on the prior big huge landmark case that focused on commissions. Just my
And
thought.
there's a level of, I wanna say, fraud within this
Yes,
situation.
there
The
is.
the
It
word
is.
and I don't say that, just anybody who's been watching us for a long time, have you ever heard me say this word? Absolutely not. But here's the thing. So a lot of us lenders will partner with real estate agents, and the real estate agents will ask to help, not the flex program, but help market themselves on Zillow, and it costs money. So you
Hmm.
both get dual leads. You both so the consumer, that would be you shopping for a house, saying, I like this house, let me contact this real estate agent. The problem is when you want to talk to the real estate agent who's actually on that listing, you click that button to be talking to that person, it doesn't go. So I was asked just recently to do to partner up with a real estate agent. And I'm
So
like,
Premier, that's the Premier program. So that's not
is
Flex,
it?
just so you know. It's
Okay.
totally different
But
thing. That's their Premier leads. It's a little different, the program.
it's still how they practice it. And that's what I
Yeah.
want to bring to light.
Hmm.
So really quick, let me finish up that flex conversation.
Yeah.
You wanted to know the math. I did not want to interrupt you.
I want to know the math. I want to give you
Okay.
enough time to get the math.
Oh,
So
no, I
anyone
mathed
who just
quickly.
joined, Cece did the math on if Zillow's taking 40% of the commission, okay? Whatever that is, I don't know if you used 100,000 or I don't know, like whatever number you use, you'll go over that in a second. If Zillow takes 40%, there's 60% left. Most teams are taking 60%. So they're taking 60% of the 60%, and the agent's left with 40% of 60%. So I'd love to hear the math on it. And it's
Okay.
not good. I already know it's not good.
And just to break it down even more, the reality of your commission, when it finally gets broken down to that 60-40 split, and you're left with that 40, as a real estate agent, because you're 1099, you actually have to take that small 40% of 40%. Now you have to go down and you have to split it one more time. 40% you have to save mathematically in your head for taxes. So
Yeah.
you actually don't get the 40%. You get 40% of Zillow, 40% of the team, and then 40% goes to the government. It leaves you. So I did the math.
Oh,
I
and don't
just,
forget the split with your brokerage too, because if you haven't capped yet, if you're on a
oh,
team with EXP, I'll give EXP. Our split is 16,000 goes to EXP. Okay, if you're a singular agent, and you can get that back if you do certain things, and I won't go into all of that. If you're on one of these teams, typically, if they're a high ranking team, it's only 4,000. You're split back to EXP. But let's say it's only 4,000 and you haven't hit it yet. 20%, and I won't make you add this in.
Yeah, I'm
20% of your 40% goes back to your brokerage because you've got to split it with them too. So you're lucky at the end of the day if you make any, it's crazy. But yeah,
okay.
go ahead with
So
the math.
you so let's I started with $8,000, okay, as
Okay.
commission.
Okay.
I just did
$8,000 commission. That's good.
I I did a very clean at the closing table. The commission starts off at that received is $8,000 for closing that house,
Hmm.
for you working for this
Got
client.
it.
If you're
Hmm.
through the flex program, it comes out to your split at 40% because they took it or they took 40% is $4,800 is what they took from you.
Okay. So 40% of 8,000 isn't 3,200.
Oh, sorry, 60% is 4,800. I'm sorry, I
Okay. So the
misspoke.
60% that's left is 4,800. I got you.
Yes, sorry, I
So
misspoke.
then you
So
get
you take
40% of that.
yeah, so $4,800 is what you get after that flex. Then that 40% goes down to 1920. Then you split it again, that 40%, and you're only left with 1152. That is 24%
Oh, I said
of
24. Did you hear me say 20 at 40% of 60%? I said I think it's 24%. I did it in my
your
head.
your yes, and that comes out to
At an
$1,152.
$8,000 commission. So
Yes,
imagine you're an
and you haven't
agent
even did the payback of what you just said about your brokerage.
and you
So
haven't
you
even paid
just
your broker, and then they will charge. Each broker is different, but our brokerage, you have to pay an E&O insurance. Ours is $65 a transaction. We also have $25 a transaction back to the brokerage to review everything. And then on top of it, well, compliance fees, but usually you add those. But the point is, after you've done all of that, it's like you're not even making as much as a transaction coordinator essentially on
no.
this. So it's basically you're running around like a psycho as an agent, and you're not being
Yes,
treated very well by
time,
people. Nobody
food.
respects you because you haven't done what's most important in real estate, which is make a connection to this person. There's
And
no
this
connection,
came
there's no loyalty. So you might run around and run around and run around and get nothing. This is if you close. Because a lot of these leads are terrible leads because the people are just like, I want to go see a house today. And with Zillow, yep, here's the other thing. They
yep,
record the conversation. You're not allowed to ask, are you pre approved? You're not even allowed to ask that question. You have to get off the phone and call them back because you could be running to show a house and they're not even pre approved. And with my listings, I always say pre approved buyers only because my sellers don't want somebody just wanting to see their house that's not even
you
ready
don't
to go.
want willy-nilly
You can't
showing up into
afford
your
this house. They don't
house.
want to clean it. They don't want to leave, and they don't want you in there. So the whole system is
No.
terrible. It's a system for Zillow to make money. It downgrades what we do in real estate, and it really puts sellers in a position to have people walking through who have no business even walking through your home. It's
Agreed,
terrible. And
agreed.
the
And
only
how do
reason
you
it
know
works,
what you're shopping for
terrible.
if you don't
I
know your
hope they
budget?
win. I hope they win, and I hope the flex
So
program has to go away because it's bad for everybody. You know what agents need to do? They need to learn how to fish. They need to learn how to get their own business and not be like a little bird waiting for a worm from the team to drop to them. And the team doesn't have to pay for anything. That's the thing. The team doesn't have to pay for these leads. A lot of teams will pay for leads. They have systems to get their own leads. Those leads are worth paying for. Those leads, I understand the split because the team has created the leads. These leads are just coming to them from Zillow Flex. The team spent nothing to get it, but they want to take 60% of what's left. It's greedy. I will say it's very greedy, and new agents are being taken advantage of. So I try to mentor new agents because I'm like, learn how to get your own business. And I don't want to talk too much about that because we have
no,
other
no,
things
no.
we have to
Let
get
me
into.
wrap up with one quick story about the premiere. So I had this agent just ask me recently to partner up with him. And I'm like, okay, I know you like when I say this, I challenge you. He was here in my office and he said he was one of only four for that zip code. I'm like, no, you're not. And he was
No,
adamant,
there's at least five.
adamant,
There's at
Holly,
least five.
adamant, adamant that he
At
was
least
one of
five.
them. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I sacrificed everybody, I sacrificed my phone number to prove this point. I got flooded with calls for weeks. Hall Financial, mm. I gotta tell you, you're that was insane. They were relentless. Um, but as soon as he came over, I I picked a listing in his zip code, clicked on it, and put in my phone number saying I'm interested in this process. And we continued our meeting. Within that only half-hour meeting, I received so many phone calls from mortgage brokers, and so they sold it to lenders and they sold it to realtors. I had at least nothing less than 11 realtors reach out to me. I had nothing less than 8 lenders
Did
reach
he
out to
even
me.
get a notification for you?
No, not one, and we sat there for a half hour, and my phone started ringing
Dirty.
within
Dirty.
30 seconds. Within 30 seconds, my phone started ringing. It just kept going, so I picked up, I'm like, "Hi," picked up, "Hi, no, this was just a test run," and I was authentic, I'm like, "I'm sorry," and then finally someone chimed in, they're like, "You just cost me," and told me
You
how
did.
much
Yeah.
the lead was.
Oh, we
Okay,
hate when people do that. We're like, when
I
my kid did that, they clicked on
I
something, and I'm like, you guys, you can't do that because somebody paid for this.
Well,
It's.
I didn't know each lead, so
Oh
their
yeah, it's not a
package
free program. You have to
was
pay for that lead. It's
pay
not free.
well, I assumed, because I don't do this, I assumed you paid monthly for leads,
Oh
not
no, it's per
by
lead.
per lead. I had
Mhm.
no clue. I felt horrible afterwards. Every time someone called, I'm like, "I am so sorry. I was proving a point. I hope you can get this point that you were number 11. When you were sold, you're only 4 in that zip code." Then I had all of these lenders, and the we had quite a few, but the biggest one, and I hate to call out a company, but we all know the company calls, was relentless, and the person wasn't even licensed on the phone, talking to a licensed professional. I'm like, this is hard." But my point being, with Zillow, with this flex, the integrity, the trust, the transparency is not there, and it's
No,
scary.
it's not there.
It's
It
not there, so I
and they're
wanted to
coming
wrap
after
this
them
up.
for antitrust laws, and I think they're going to be able to make their case. I don't
Uh,
think it's gonna be hard. So
uh,
this one, I believe Zillow's gonna lose, or Zillow's gonna have to do some things to change everything, and they're gonna have to get more specific. They're gonna have to say contact agent. They're gonna have to say you are reaching a buyer's agent that is not associated with this listing. They're gonna have to change something. Okay, so that's the first lawsuit against Zillow. Second lawsuit against Zillow, we've talked about this in the
we
past.
have.
This one was filed in June. Oh, so that first one was just filed in September 19th, so that last month. This one is Compass versus Zillow. It was filed June 23rd. This one is in the US District Court in New York. And the Compass is accusing Zillow of, they're calling it monopolistic practices. So really quickly, just to recap,
Say it 3 times.
I know monopolistic practices.
I had to. I had to.
Some things
Tongue
are so hard
twister.
for me to say. I know.
It would
So
be hard, yes.
it is. So back a little while ago, we talked about, I don't remember which episode it was, but we talked about how, now I don't agree with Compass doing this, and if there's time, we'll talk about why. But Compass has a thing where they say that their marketing structure is to have a private exclusive with their listings, then move it to coming
Mm.
soon, and then move it to full MLS, because coming soon is on the MLS, but you can't see it until a certain date. Private exclusive just basically means, we used to call them pocket listings. We're not allowed to say that anymore. Now we have to say off market listings. And it just means that if Compass has the listing, only the people within Compass, the agents within Compass, have access to market it to their buyers. So for buyers, this is awesome because it excludes, again, we're going to get into this is what the lawsuit, it excludes all these other buyers. So I'm not in Compass, I'm with EXP. That means my buyers in EXP can't see this listing. Okay. Only person this is good for is the buyers who are within Compass, because they're getting like a first preview. The sellers, it's not good for at all, because anytime you take what a huge opportunity and you bring it down to this big. I don't care how big Compass is, they're huge, but it doesn't matter. You're still lessening the opportunity for the seller because not everybody gets to see it. And the best buyer could be with me with EXP that would give the most money and they won't even see it yet. That's why it's not good for sellers. However,
Mhm.
let's just look at the lawsuit. So basically what's happening is they are wanting to continue this practice. Well, Zillow has said back in April, they came out, it was April something. They came out and said their rule on Zillow is if your listing is not on the MLS within 1 day, within 24 hours, then Zillow's going to ban it. From Zillow and Trulia, it will never be on. So you're not going to be on at all. So if you do this, if you've got this pool and you're marketing listings to only your people, Zillow will not put it on at all. So Compass is saying this isn't fair. You can't bar us. It's funny because Compass is saying you can't bar us, even though Compass is barring everybody else. Right. I don't think Zillow is going to lose this one. I think this one's going to be a toss up because what Compass is doing is essentially is keeping some people out of the market. We're not allowed to do that. So they're basically putting fancy language on it to say it's part of their marketing strategy, but they are keeping a big group of people out of the process. They're not letting these people even see the listing. And that's why they told us we weren't allowed to have pocket listings anymore. We couldn't even call it that because the industry doesn't like that. They want it to be fair for all buyers. Again, it's almost like discriminating against people who are not within Compass's network. Okay,
And
because it is.
this but
It
this
is.
leads me to you have to pay to be in there, correct?
Pay to be
If
in
you
what?
encompass, to be a part of
Um,
Compass because
well, you just have
this
to
is
be an agent that has decided
with
Compass is your
Compass.
brokerage. Yeah.
Okay, because that's where
You
I'm a
have to
little
be an
confused
agent with
about
Compass.
this.
Yes.
Okay, so just let me ask questions because on
Yep.
your side, I don't know this. I've read articles and there's some gaps here. So if you don't mind me asking a few follow-up
Absolutely.
questions. So
Ask us.
now that I know that Encompass has or is in right now purchasing Sotheby's, Century
Yeah.
21, all of these brokerages,
Coldwell
they're all gonna be
Banker,
yes, so they're taking the brick and mortar companies, not cloud-based companies,
franchise
and
models. Yep.
yes, putting an umbrella over them. So unless you worked or other, real estate agents that I partner up with worked with Century 21, Sotheby's, all of the ones on the list, then they have exclusive rights to Compass.
Yes.
Do they can you go in and pay to have access to Compass, or it's
No.
just for their company?
Just for their company,
Okay,
and so it's so when you look at this and you dig deeper, it also looks like a recruiting tool. They're hoping
that's
that
exactly where I was
people
going.
people
Okay,
will want to join them because now they're like, well, I don't want to not have access, so now I want to join them. So now
okay.
it makes agents feel like, oh, I got to do this.
That's exactly where I was going because with cloud-based, I know some people think it's a scheme, excuse me. It's finding your right home. It's not.
I
It's
didn't know people thought
finding
it was a pyramid scheme. That doesn't even
s-
make sense to me, but I guess
well
that's a whole
because
nother episode.
of a lot of agents start talking about shares too
Yeah, we have
much.
revenue share, and then
Revenue
there's
shares.
yeah, revenue
And
share is just
so
revenue share in a company, though. A lot of
how
companies have revenue
how
share.
some agents word it is that if you sign someone up, then it compiles kind of like a pyramid scheme and they represent it incorrectly. So let me just say it's represented
Yeah, pyramid
incorrectly.
scheme, there's
That's
no
not
pro
how
yeah, pyramid scheme is
exactly.
totally not
It's
even yeah, that's a
it's
whole nother
not.
conversation.
It's a big
I
myth.
didn't even know
We should
people were
talk
that
about
ignorant to
that
even
myth.
say that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hear it just because I'm not in your world. I hear it in another world of complaining. But I think we should do a myth on that one.
Well,
That
it's
would be
probably
interesting.
brokerages who can't compete against us and they want to try and have something to say, so they throw that out there and they look really stupid doing it because pyramid scheme is illegal and there's no product.
Well, that and
So,
so, but
and
getting back to
yeah,
Compass, so on if you to me, this would be a recruiting idea. And
huge
they're
recruiting idea and it hurts
I don't like
sellers.
that.
It's terrible. It
And it
hurts the
hurts
sellers. That's who it
buyers.
hurts. It's going to hurt the
And
sellers.
buyers. I'm working with
Well,
buyers right now. If they were working with, Berkshire Hathaway, EXP, Epic, RE/MAX, I can just keep listing them, but I'm gonna stop because there's many, many smaller brokerages out there. Then that huge section is just out of reach. What if that's the only home they can afford? And
that's the
they're, like,
point of
taking
this. Yeah, that's the point of this, that Compass is creating something that's good for Compass. It's like we already mentioned, it's a recruiting tool for them, and it's the
okay,
exclusivity that their buyers get. But I don't know how they sell it to sellers, because I'll give you one example in a second of the only type of seller I think this would work for. But with sellers, when I sit with sellers, I'm marketing the property. How am I going to be different than other agents? How I market the property. How you sell it for top dollar is to market it and expose it to the masses. But who's going to buy? Know who your target is, who's most likely to buy this property. I need to get this in front of them, because I might have cash buyers who just watch online. They're not on an MLS search. I might have overseas buyers who won't see it unless it gets out to the masses, right? And there's so many options there. So with if I'm not in Compass, so I'm with EXP and I'm not going to join Compass, I'm with EXP. If I have a buyer who's looking for that exact house, and let's say my buyer would be willing to pay 20% over list, let's just pretend for fun's sake. But let's say Compass, within their system, they sell it, and that seller ends up getting 10% over their list price. That seller is thinking, woohoo, I got 10% more, not realizing that they could have got 20% more, but they'll never know. They'll never know because they bought into this
Oh,
situation that, ooh, early exclusivity, maybe I'll sell it without going on the market. Oh,
okay.
that's easy for me. Like, oh, I don't have to have all this stuff. I can maybe just have a couple showings and sell it. But if your goal is to make top dollar, which most people it is, that's not winning. Here's the only situation, because I always rack my brain and say, could this help anybody? There are sellers out there. Now, this is a rare scenario. If you're in a high end, high end luxury, and you've got like Kim Kardashian as your client, and she does not want it made like the headlines that she's selling, this might work for Kim Kardashian because she doesn't want everybody to know she's selling, possibly, right? So she wants to have a hush hush inside deal. She wants them to be like, you find a way to make sure I get the best opportunity for this. And they work their butts off and find within their network a buyer for her. And it works for her because she doesn't want it public until it closes. Once it closes, it's public, that might be the only kind of seller it'll work for. Now, in that situation, the seller maybe doesn't care if it's top dollar because it's Kim Kardashian. She's already got a ton of money. She just wants to make money on the sale of her home. And what's important to that seller is anonymity. It's the only kind of seller which this is going to work for, where they're not potentially losing. And even if they are, they're okay with it. Because when you limit on anything, when you limit the people who have access to it, yes, its value goes up, but you still don't know if you're getting the best opportunity. So no one's going
Yeah,
to ever be able to convince me that this is good for sellers. It just isn't. It's maybe good for those buyers because they get to see it and my buyer doesn't. That's what this
okay.
lawsuit's about. Is that fair? Is that fair?
I think they both need to be shooken up.
I think Zillow's right on this. I don't like Zillow, but I will say I think that they're right by saying this isn't a right thing that Compass is doing. But I want Compass to come out on top because, again, I don't want Zillow to win because Zillow's trying to take our industry. At least with Compass, they're a real estate company. They're doing business the way that brokerages do businesses. And I don't mind the competition because if Compass all of a sudden elevates up to here, that means EXP, because I know EXP, the reason I'm with them is they're innovative and they're at the front of everybody. If they weren't, I wouldn't be with them. If Compass is here, EXP wants to make sure they're here. So that means they're going to work even harder, which just benefits me and benefits my clients. Because again, competition is good for everybody. If EXP was the only brokerage, they probably wouldn't do all the things they're doing for us because they wouldn't have to, right? So because of that, competition is good, and all agents should like the fact that they have different opportunities to join, and it's good because let them fight with each other to say who's better and who's, because they always want to say we had the most sales, we had the highest sales, we have the most agents. I love it, and I want to see that competition. It's good for me and it's good for the consumer. What's not good is Compass treating their listings as if they're like greedy and no one else can see it. And
My
also what Zillow,
precious.
yeah, what Zillow is doing with the Flex program is also not good and actually hurts everybody in real estate. But these agents don't know how to fish these teams aren't teaching them how to fish. The teams are lazy, in my opinion. Sometimes I'm not saying they never train them on anything, but they're certainly not doing a good enough job training them on how to fish because they're just using this system as here's some leads, go sell. And they're the worst leads ever. They're really hard to convert because, again, there's no relationship there. So it's just a way for teams to look like a good opportunity. Hey, I'm going to join this team because they have Zillow Flex, right? So now the team looks like a great option because the client or the agent doesn't know how to actually sell and recruit, like get clients. Because it's tough. It's not easy. I'm not saying don't buy leads. Don't get them from Zillow. Create your own. I do a lot of things. Get my own leads online, but you can get your own leads. But nobody's teaching that because they're lazy or they don't know how to teach it. They don't know how to teach their agents to fish. That's it. That's my 2 cents on that. That
No,
is my TED talk for
but you
today.
you bring up a good point because we have a lot of hot topics that we like to continue to touch on, that we're
Mhm.
gonna be watching and keeping our eye on these lawsuits. What does this look like for us?
Yep.
We could actually, I was thinking, there are a few people that I know that's part of our pack and can discuss like the helping legislation within the real estate industry and how that looks. So we should probably bring someone on who really is like,
Our pack is yeah. Our pack was
well,
supposed to protect us from the last lawsuit and they didn't. So I'm
so there's
that
two.
money was supposed to, yeah, that we're none of us are happy with the fact that we all like all these brokerages got sued because they should have stood taller than they did. And all that money that was paid to them wasn't I don't think any agents
So
are happy
from
with
my
that.
understanding, and that's what I'm saying, we should probably bring someone on. We can actually ask these questions of like what what it really does and what they do to help legislation and how to get our voices out there because that's what
Mhm.
we need. I know there's RPAC 1 and RPAC 2. So a couple of the charities I work with or groups and boards I work along with contribute to RPAC 2, which there is a difference. And I don't know the difference super duper well, but I actually would like to. But that kind of goes into keeping up with the drama, kind of keeping up with the real estate tea, seeing where we're going. But I do want to touch base because as the weeks go on, kind of
Mhm.
want to touch back on Fed Daddy. Can I talk about Fed Daddy for a
Yeah, we have
second?
a couple minutes
What
left. So
time
why
is
don't
it?
you update? Yeah, we've got a few minutes. This is a good way to end, probably giving us an update on what's going on with the
Okay.
Fed, because that's huge.
It is, and we keep talking about these certain conversations, and you're gonna kinda keep hearing what how this is gonna shake up the industry, how we are going to pivot moving forward. I know the big conversation we didn't even get to talk about was AI
We'll
and
do
real
that
estate
next week because
agents.
that's a good one too.
Yes, no, we have
Yeah.
to. So that has to so stay tuned, click the bell, listen to us because I would love to hear and have communication. We should actually put a poll out. That's what we should do. We should poll this week and see what people think so we can use that part of the discussion and pull from our community, from our colleagues, and from buyers and sellers how they think AI is going to affect the future and what they think is going to happen and kind of
Yeah.
start breaking some of those myths. That would be a good one.
The AI
So
conversation is a really good conversation.
it is, it is. What time is it right now?
10:38. It's at the you don't see it?
10:38.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have just a few minutes, so I'm gonna go super quick. So the next time the Federal Reserve is gonna meet, I believe is October 28th or the 29th. It's I have to check the calendar. I'm pretty sure it's the 28th. So right now, there's a lot of talk going on. There's a lot of meetings leading up to the announcement. They don't meet and then announce. That's not how this works. So right now I'm reading a lot of articles. There's a lot of news out there. There's a lot of minutia going on that if my mom's watching, she would like that I use that word, minutia. But there's a lot of noise going on, and I kind of wanted to break it down. Now, the governing board for the Federal Reserve, it's interesting of how and who gets appointed and by whom. So right now, Powell, who is a chairman of the Federal Reserve, actually it was Obama is the one who initially put him on the board. Then Biden kept him there. Trump came in. He actually, it was Trump's decision for him to be chair back in the day, which I found super interesting.
Hmm.
So with the governing board, there's two that Trump actually endorsed and put them on the board. So we have Waller, and then with Moran. So Moran is talking right now of wanting to drop the interest rate by 0.5%. Waller's coming in saying, "Know what? I think it's going to be a quarter." So they're both discussing, and they are both, and I'm not picking out why, like, who appointed them, but I kinda wanna give a bigger picture because as you guys follow us, you're gonna understand who got appointed and why. The rest of the board was appointed by Biden. So, out of the board members, we have 2 that were, or 3, because technically Powell was redone by Trump saying, "Yes, I would like you to be the chairman." And that's kind of backfired on Trump. He's not happy with Powell. He's not happy that he ran the wrong numbers. So right now, Moran and Waller are talking about two different. Now I know Waller, he's kind of right now trying to be the front runner to take over Powell's position. His contract up is in May. Now, it's a 14-year contract,
It's a long
and
time.
it's, I know, and it's staggered by 2 years for each board member, so there's always new blood coming in. Even though it's a long time, they want new blood coming in. Well, Trump did, these are the 2 most recent that, from my understanding, is Moran and Waller. So, Moran wants to be more aggressive. Waller wants to be a little bit more conservative with this number. Now, when we talk about um, Barry Habib, Waller sounds to be more in line of what, um, oh my gosh, Habib is discussing. So they're in line, not that big of a jump of that 0.5%. So it is actually going to be interesting of these meetings that are coming up. There's meetings at the end of the week to discuss this. So both parties are discussing a rate drop, which is great. No one's saying that it's going to stay steady. No one's saying it's increasing. They want to know by how much. Again, a reminder, we're not talking about interest rates for mortgages. We're just talking in general. We are tied to the 10-year bond, which is affected by the Federal Reserve and the rates that
The
go along
Fed
with it.
rate, yeah, not the
Yeah,
mortgage interest rate, but the Fed rate, which is different.
different. Exactly. So they're talking about the Fed rate being decreased by a half, and then Waller wants um, a quarter. But that kind of follows along with Barry Habib. That subtle decline
Hmm.
going through and having that healthy decline, not drop it too much, not, um so that's kind of the conversation that's going on. So I'm just glad to hear that we're still moving in the right direction when it
Yes.
comes to the conversation about Fed Daddy and where we're at. Now May is coming up close. We have just a few more months left of someone who likes bad numbers, and hopefully this is
Someone who
getting
sits there and
regulated.
says it's not his fault because he was fed bad numbers. But it's like anything else. If you're the leader, if you're in charge and something fails, it's always on you because you didn't check and it's always on the leader because you have to take responsibility because it's your responsibility. That's why there's a lot of responsibility on a CEO or on anyone that's got a high level of, that's why they get paid so well because at the end of the day, the buck stops with him. And he didn't do what was necessary. He just pushed the envelope and said it wasn't me. But it doesn't matter if you didn't run the numbers. You're responsible for the information you put out. And you're lazy for not doing what needed to be done to ensure it was accurate. That's the problem we have with Powell. And
Yes.
backstory is he's not a financial economist. He's like an attorney, I think. He doesn't even have the credentials for this position, yet he still was put into it. So there's that.
Yeah. And with the new reports that are coming up, they're talking about the labor market, how it's improving.
Mhm.
So we're looking at all these reports that are coming in that's going to define what October 28th is going to bring us. So stay tuned. We'll keep it up. I'll be able to get after these meetings this week. I'll have a better report next week because right now they're all just talking. Everybody's being interviewed. Nothing is settled. So hopefully the reports that are going to be coming out that are going to come to this decision
Mhm.
at the end of October, we're gonna wait and see, so just keep following us, and we're gonna see how the month of October shakes out. I do foresee what Barry Hippie was saying, that there's still gonna be a decline, not a
Mhm.
drop. You're gonna hear cuts, and you're gonna think it's gonna be
Yep.
a drop.
Step
It
down.
it should be just healthy, but we're moving in the right direction. I'm
Thank the
excited
good
about
Lord.
that. I
It is
know.
time. It's time. Well,
Yes.
that is our time too. So thanks again for joining me. And those of you who are watching now or watching later, make sure, like Cece said, tap the bell for notifications so you know when we're live and when we post new content. Give us a little thumbs up and a like. We appreciate that. And if you have questions, you'll be able to find my information in the if this isn't posted yet in the last one, you can, or you can just Google me, Holly Amato Realtor. My gosh, I pop up everywhere. And Cece Machieski, she's going to pop up. But if you need her info and you can't find it, reach out to me. And if you have questions, reach out. If you want to see us do post questions or future topics you'd like to hear us talk about in the comments, because we'd love to address whatever is going on in your mind. Maybe there's something we said today, or there's something else you want addressed. That's the kind of topic we want to hit because we don't pull our punches. We're honest here, and we'll tell you what you need to know. It's all
Excellent.
about being honest in education. So, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We hope that you have an amazing week. If you're catching us late, go ahead and watch the replay. Have a fantastic day, everybody.